What did you think of Phantom Thread? Leave a comment. Sorry, that was just really funny. Hi guys, welcome back to Just Born Movies. My name is Joseph Tapia. I'm your host. This is the show where we take movies fresh out the Hollywood womb and we dissect them for you. Today my guest is Paul Workman. Paul, what'd we see?
This week we saw Phantom Thread, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and starring Daniel Day-Lewis as a dressmaker named Reynolds Woodcock.
You can sew almost anything into the canvas of a coat. When I was a boy, I started to hide things in the linings of the garments. Things that only I knew were there. Secrets.
Good morning.
Will you have dinner with me?
Yes.
Without getting too in-depth, guys, I want to tell you this movie is absolutely phenomenal. I'm talking like 10 chef kisses out of 5. Like, mwah, just absolutely gorgeous. Paul, what'd you think of this movie?
I loved it. Leaving the theater, I could barely think of anything I didn't like about this film. There was so much to look at. The cinematography is on point. I believe Paul Thomas Anderson did the cinematography himself, and he is just in this film. At every moment, the way he moves his camera, the things that he picks up, the shots he gets are just above and beyond. And his editing is also wonderful. So much going on in the way that they float back and forth between characters, the way that they pick up every nuance, just everything. Johnny Greenwood's soundtrack.
Yes, oh my god.
Johnny Greenwood's soundtrack was so good. It reminded me a lot of Vince Guaraldi's trio, who a lot of you probably know better as the guy who did the Peanuts theme, Linus and Lucy, or Christmas Time Is Here from Peanuts Christmas. The way the piano just kind of tinkled through the entire film is just unbelievable.
The soundtrack is so evocative. And who is it by?
Johnny Greenwood. Who I believe is the guitarist. I'm not absolutely certain his place in Radiohead because I'm not a big fan of Radiohead. So, but I'm a big fan of Johnny Greenwood's music in Paul Thomas Anderson films.
So, the music is absolutely evocative and it does a very good job. So again, without getting too in-depth about the plot, I will tell you that it centers around the character of Reynolds Woodcock, played by Daniel Day-Lewis. He is absolutely phenomenal in this movie. Yeah. He plays a dressmaker, and he starts to fall for this woman named
Alma.
And they start to develop this very symbiotic and yet volatile relationship. And that's about as much as I want to say. I really want you to see this movie. That way you can just take it all in without me just telling you it.
Yeah. It's hard to really talk about this film without giving away too much. Aside from just being able to say like what was gorgeous about it, because the script it takes a bit to get into. The first act's a little droll in points, but the moment that it picks up, you almost automatically forget that first act took so long to get set up. Once this kicks into high gear, it just goes, and you get sucked into this relationship, and you just don't want to be away from it.
This is the film that Daniel Day-Lewis said, "This is it. I'm quitting acting." So if that tells you anything about this movie, please go see it.
Yeah, I mean the man puts in high quality content constantly. Just almost any time he steps up to the plate, he's getting a home run. I mean, the man has 3 Oscars right now for My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood, and Lincoln, which is still my favorite performance of his. I think his performance as Lincoln is bar none the best he's ever done, and that's saying something because him in this film, him in There Will Be Blood, just unbelievable. And not only that, the supporting cast in this film backs him up perfectly. He's not the only standout. The actress playing Alma is just wonderful. The actress playing his sister, who's currently nominated for an Academy Award, is so cold and unrelenting in
Yeah.
so many scenes in this film that she is just kind of the perfect foil.
She keeps them in check all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, and again, I want to go into a lot of plot points about that,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give anything away because the twists and turns in this film are incredible.
We could sit here and talk about these characters who are so nuanced and so developed. We could talk about them literally for like hours, but we want you to see this movie. This is something you have to experience for yourself. The way that Paul Thomas Anderson incorporates the economy of language and saying so much about his characters and with so little writing as possible is just amazing in this film.
Yeah, there's entire montages that there's maybe a few words spoken, and they go to so much depth for the character without having to beat you over the head with too much expository language. It's Paul Thomas Anderson also in a real high form.
I left the theater. I looked at Paul. I said, Paul, I'm finding it very, very hard to say one bad thing about this movie.
Yeah, and aside from what I said earlier, the first like 20 minutes just kind of taking off a little slow, you almost got to expect that from Paul Thomas Anderson. I can't think of anything else either.
Yeah, it's just a really good movie, guys. Paul, based on our ratings, what would you give this movie?
Well, like I said, great music, great editing, great cinematography, beautiful acting. Directing is just a home run. If it wasn't for the first 20 minutes, I could probably go damn near perfect, but I think instead I'm going to go damn great.
I'm going to have to go with damn near perfect. I
can't argue with
I agree with Paul. The first 15, 20 minutes are kind of slow, but I'm thinking about the time we went to go see it. We went to see it at a very late showing.
Yeah,
We were kind of tired, you know. So I think if you saw this in the middle of the day or whenever, you know, that the first 15, 20 minutes, they're not going to bother you as much as it normally would. I'm going to have to say damn near perfect. Let us know what you thought of Phantom Thread. Leave a comment below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel to get notifications every time we post. Don't miss our other shows, Drinking Age Movies and Damn Fine Meats. And as always, hasta la vista, baby.